Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Aduh, kasihan. Kasihan Hati-hati, Pak.
See you in the next one. Stay informed, stay safe. May be used for illustration, may not show the exact event described. See you in the next one. Stay informed, stay safe. To ferry villagers out of hazard zones. In the southeastern province of Fujian, the 7th of August, 2025, will be remembered as the day the land itself seemed to break under the weight of water. For days, the skies had opened without mercy, as a stalled tropical system hovered like a curse over the region. The deluge did not merely dampen the soil it swallowed entire towns, erased familiar roads, and drowned the rhythm of daily life. By the time the storms began to relent, Fujian stood on the brink of catastrophe, its people watching in disbelief as their world was reshaped by torrents of mud and water. The violence of the floods tore at the very bones of the province. In once thriving rural counties, such as Wuping and Yongding, the rivers raged beyond their banks, turning quiet lanes into violent torrents. Homes collapsed in on themselves, more than 400 structures reduced to heaps of wood and brick, while thousands more groaned under deep cracks and waterlogged foundations. Roads disappeared beneath landslides. Bridges were ripped away as if they were made of paper, leaving entire villages cut off and stranded. Isolation became as deadly as the floodwaters themselves, for relief could not reach the trapped. In the capital city of Fuzhou, highways lay buried beneath walls of mud. Railways that once connected Fujian to neighboring provinces fell silent, their tunnels transformed into dark, flooded caverns. Airports stood as rare lifelines, yet flight after flight was cancelled as storm clouds pressed low over the coast. Ferries ceased their journeys, leaving islands marooned and trade routes severed. But the heart of Fujian's suffering beat hardest in its farmlands. The region's fertile interior rice paddies shimmering like green mirrors, tea terraces sculpted into mountainsides, and vegetable fields that fed millions was transformed overnight into an inland sea. More than 20,000 hectares of crops vanished under the floods, their stalks and leaves choked in silt and debris. Terraced hillsides collapsed under the relentless rainfall, their carefully cultivated steppes cascading into valleys as roaring mudslides. For countless farmers, this season was to be their harvest, a moment of reward after months of labor. Instead, they now stand in fields of ruin, their livelihoods reduced to shadows. Economists estimate the losses in agriculture alone stretch into the billions. Yet the true toll is not measured in currency slides. It is in the silent despair of those who no longer know how they will feed their families. The cities fared no better. In Guangzhou and Fujian, electric grids were swallowed whole when substations disappeared under brown, swirling floodwater. Darkness fell across districts, broken only by the pale glow of emergency lights. For many, the nights were filled with the uneasy quiet of powerless streets, where only the sound of water lapping against buildings could be heard. Telecommunication lines failed in several counties, cutting families off from one another, silencing phones that would not ring again. In desperation, rescue coordinators turned to satellite phones, the old technology becoming the only fragile thread tying the isolated to the outside world. Clean water became a rare commodity, as treatment facilities faltered, their systems overwhelmed, and contaminated by rivers turned into filthy, churning monsters. The economic toll rose with the floodwaters. Early government estimates placed direct losses at more than 18 billion yuan, around 2.5 billion US dollars, but the figure is expected to climb with each passing day. Coastal industrial parks stood submerged. warehouses converted into shallow lakes, machinery corroding beyond repair. Construction sites, numbering in the tens of thousands, were silenced mid-progress, their skeletal frameworks left to rust under the endless rain. Fujian's economy, normally vibrant, staggered under the blow. Tourism, too, which usually blossoms in August, was crushed. The province's cultural treasures, from ancient temples to historic villages, now stood silent and shuttered. Scenic mountains and coastal parks, usually thronged with summer visitors, were declared unsafe, their beauty concealed beneath dangerous instability. Perhaps the most haunting sight of all, however, is not the destruction of stone or steel, but the movement of people. More than 450,000 residents have been uprooted, carried away from their homes by order or necessity, gathered into temporary shelters inside schools, stadiums, and government halls. Rows of evacuees now sleep side by side on thin mats, their lives reduced to whatever belongings they could carry as the floodwaters rose. Bottled water and emergency rations are passed hand to hand. Children clutch blankets, staring at a ceiling that is not their own. Overcrowding gnaws at these shelters, and local officials plead with surrounding provinces to send aid before exhaustion breeds unrest. For those displaced, there is no certainty, only the hollow knowledge that their homes may never be habitable again. And yet, amid the devastation, there is resilience. Rescue workers battle exhaustion to restore power, distribute food, and search for survivors. Neighbors share what little they have. Entire communities cling to one another, refusing to yield to despair. But the road ahead is steep and uncertain. The floods have left more than collapsed buildings and ruined fields. They have left the province questioning how it will rebuild, how it will shield itself from the fury of storms yet to come. Fujian now stands as a warning and a testament. A warning of the staggering force of nature when climate and geography conspire to unleash chaos. A testament to the endurance of people who, though battered and displaced, still rise each day to face the wreckage of their lives. The rain may have ceased, but its echoes will linger in the silence of abandoned villages, in the fields where harvests once stood, and in the eyes of those who carry forward with nothing but their strength. The future will demand more than recovery. It will demand resilience, preparation, and an unyielding will to endure. Fujian's story is not yet finished. It has only entered its most painful chapter, one written in water, mud, and the unbroken spirit of its people. Disasters like this remind us how fragile life really. Island Fujian has shown both strength and sorrow, the courage of its people, but also the cracks in its systems. Floods don't just wash away homes, they wash away the illusion of safety, like a mirror, suddenly shattered, leaving us staring at the truth beneath. Maybe the lesson is simple. Nature writes the rules, and we must learn to read them better. Stronger preparation, smarter cities, safer homes, that's not just policy, it's survival. But what do you think should we really focus first on the economy, or on protecting people? Thanks for staying with me through this story. Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear how you see it. And if you're not sure what to write, just leave comment number 1 to show you're here. Every voice matters, especially when the world feels heavy. Hard and fast. Worsening the flooding.
Wow.